Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Buddhavajagacharya Ashtotter to Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Buddhavajagacharya Ashtotter to Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Okay. Uh-oh. Where is that? Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. On the second day of December, 2025 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in chapter 13. Nature, the Enjoyer, and Consciousness, text 24? 25. At the top of page 557. Okay. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Okay. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Ready, you want to try? Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Amen. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Yogena Chapare. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti Kechid Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankhena Yogena Karma Yogena Chapare. Okay, we might run into a problem. Child, that's too noisy. Is the lounge open? Or the kirtan going on? Okay. All right. So far, so good. A little bit, but okay. Okay. Translation? No. Word by words. Oh, yes. Bhakti Chad.
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti.
Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti.
Kechid Atmanam Atmana.
Kechid Atmanam Atmana.
Anye Sankhena Yogena.
Anye Sankhena Yogena.
Karma Yogena Chapare.
Karma Yogena Chapare.
There's
Vanessa?
others on also. Yep.
Vanessa?
Hare Krishna.
25.
Okay, thank you. Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti
Dhyanena Atmani Pashyanti
Kechid Atmanam Atmana
Kechid Atmanam Atmana
Anye Sankhena Yogena
Anye Sankhena Yogena
Karma Yogena Chapare.
Karma Yogena Chapare. Thank you. Dhyanena, by meditation. Atmani, within the self. Pashyanti, see, kechit, some, Atmanam, the supersoul. Atmana, by the mind. Anye, others, Sankhena, of philosophical discussion. Yogena, by the yoga system. Karma Yogena, by activities without food of desire. Cha also apare, others. Some perceive the Supersoul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Purport. The Lord informs Arjuna that the conditioned souls can be divided into two classes as far as man's search for self-realization is concerned. Those who are atheists, agnostics, and skeptics are beyond the sense of spiritual understanding. But there are others who are faithful in their understanding of spiritual life, and they are called introspective devotees, philosophers, and workers who have renounced fruitive results. Those who always try to establish the doctrine of monism are also counted among the atheists and agnostics. In other words, only the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are best situated in spiritual understanding, because they understand that beyond this material nature are the spiritual world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is expanded as the Paramatma, the Supersoul in everyone, the all-pervading Godhead. Of course, there are those who try to understand the Supreme Absolute Truth by cultivation of knowledge, and they can be counted in the class of the faithful. The Sankhya philosophers analyze this material world into 24 elements, and they place the individual soul as the 25th item. When they are able to understand the nature of the individual soul to be transcendental to the material elements, they are able to understand also that above the individual soul, there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the 26th element. Thus gradually they also come to the standard of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Those who work without fruitive results are also perfect in their attitude. They are given a chance to advance to the platform of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Here it is stated that there are some people who are pure in consciousness and who try to find out the Supersoul by meditation. And when they discover the Supersoul within themselves, they become transcendentally situated. Similarly, there are others who also try to understand the Supreme Soul by cultivation of knowledge. And there are others who cultivate the Hatha Yoga system and who try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by childish activities. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and to all members of Sri Parampara. So, Krishna has established the importance of the Supersoul. What is its functions? They're outlined in text 23. Upadrashta anumanta char bharta bhokta maheshwara. Besides the individual soul, there is in this body another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, and who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Supersoul. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of present position. And then the verse today, some perceive this Supersoul within through meditation, others through cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. So this is one of the subject matters for this chapter. At the beginning of the chapter, Arjuna asked his question. He wanted to know what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, and what is the Supreme, I think he said. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Chaitram Chaitra Gameva. What is the Chaitra, the field of activity, the body, and what is the knower of the field? And what is knowledge, and what is the goal of knowledge? So he doesn't mention the Supersoul there, but Krishna does in the next text. Chaitra dim chap imam vidhi. The individual soul is the knower of the body. We learned that in the second chapter, right? And the influence of that soul, and consciousness, is spread all over the body. You see. But Krishna says here, but I am also the Chaitra Gya. There's two Chaitra Gya. Gya means a knower. Chaitra means the field or the body. Kshetrajam tabimam vidi, you should know that I am also the knower. There's two knowers in all kshetras. And knowing the kshetra and the kshetra gayor gyanam. Now, that word, I consulted my Sanskrit advisor, Kishore Prabhu, and kshetra gayo can be the knowers of the field. That can also be plural, because there's two knowers. And it's clear from this whole chapter that it's not sufficient to just know one knower. It's not enough to just know that you are a soul. You have to also know the super soul, and you have to ultimately know that the super soul is Krishna's representative or Krishna's expansion. And that's the connection to Krishna. So, understanding this body, the field, and its knowers is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Now, Prabhupada makes that clear in this purport and future purports, that real knowledge cannot just end, be, okay, I understand the 24 elements or 25 elements of the body, I understand I'm a soul, and I'm self-realized. What about God? What about Krishna? Where did it all come from? You see? So we learned this, throughout the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Prabhupada would always quote the verse. That's the first verse of the 5th chapter of the Brahma Samhita, which is the chapter that Lord Caitanya brought back. Ishvara Parama Krishna. And Krishna is the Supreme Godhead, you see. Satchidananda Vigraha Nadadadi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He has a body which is composed of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Satchidananda Vigraha. And the wonderful thing is, because we're part and parcel of Krishna, that is also our original body, is full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, not changing. Ajo Nityik Shashvato Yam Purana. So that element of knowledge, it may be theoretical at first, but we believe it on the basis of the authority of all of the acharyas and Krishna's words here, and Srila Prabhupada, our great leader and founder of this society. So that on the basis of that faith, remember that the faith is an essential foundation. The famous verses in the Brahma Samhita, they're quoted in a purport, I always forget which one. Adau Shraddha. In the beginning has to be faith. Now Prabhupada explains that this is not the ultimate deep faith of the pure devotees. Their faith is unshakable. But this is a faith that will impel us to at least investigate Krishna consciousness. Because the next step is sadhu sangha. You have to be willing to come into the association of devotees. Nowadays, you can just press the right button on the computer or your phone, and you can get the association that way. It's not as good, but it's something, you see. There's a million different places you can go on that phone. And if you come to the temple and you get the darshan or the class, then that's the result of some faith. You're interested, right? And if you're receptive, then comes the whole test. How do you respond to it? So many people, they walk by, or they drive by this temple every day, or once a week, whatever, and they've already got us in a certain place, They say, okay, that's the Hare Kṛṣṇa temple. I heard about them, this cult, whatever, not me. I got my own thing going, whatever. For whatever reason, they don't have enough faith to pursue it. They have a million other pursuits, material pursuits. The mind is telling them to go, I got to go here to do this work, or buy this, or go to the bar, or whatever it may be, right? They're going somewhere. They're not coming to the temple. So that somehow or other, all of us, the seed of faith was planted, the interest. Prabhupada explained that faith in that verse, Adau Shraddha, is respect and interest, enough to bring you into the association of devotees. Now, how you react to that association, that makes all the difference. I remember my brother came and visited me here one time. It was a long time ago. He's 5 years older than me. But he was living in California by that time, and so he came down. And I remembered, well, why don't you try this chanting? Try this chanting. So I gave him some beads. I think he was sitting near the door there, All right, I'll try it. But he explained to me, one of the reasons, and this is a big thing, why a lot of people don't believe in God, and that was the problem of evil. This whole idea, well, what about Gaza? all those children dying. How can there be a God who allows such evil like that? You see, the whole structure of karma and reincarnation and all of that, you know, they're just looking at it simply like that. No, no, no. And that's been true throughout history. What point in history can you point to where there hasn't been things that are obviously, you know, unjust and horrible and you know, evil people hurting? There's always something going on. So if you don't understand the larger science of karma and reincarnation and the nature of the different ages, how in this age, we were just reading this morning, I have a little study group on Tuesday evening, and we were going through some important Bhagavatam verses. Some of you may know this one, right near the beginning, first chapter, I think, 10th verse. Prayein alpayashak sabya kalavasmin yugejana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya upadvita. It's describing the disqualification of the people in this age. And the word prayena means for the most part, not 100%, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here. But prayena, mostly, for the most part, people don't live very long, you know. Now to live 80, 90, 100, you know, is very long now. But, you know, you go back, Arjun, the limit in the Dwapara Yuga was 1,000 years, you know, and before that 10,000, and in Sarata Yuga 100,000. Who can imagine, you know? What was it? Valmiki meditated for 60,000 years. All right, you know, he's had a human body, but it's unbelievable. It's amazing. So the point is that, and it's not only short life, but sabya kalabasmi manda, mean in the matter of spiritual life, spiritual endeavor, people are very lazy. They're not interested. Manda means slow, lazy, and that word appears 3 times in this verse. Manda sumanda matayo, and in this case, manda means misguided. Manda means that, okay, if I'm interested, then you're going to go to this yogi, this book, and the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I remember when I first started, you know, I was the 60s. Everyone was reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Right? You probably read it. But that's not going to help you become Krishna conscious. You know, there's a million different ways that you can go off. So that's called sumanda matayo, misguided. And lazy, misguided, and manda bhagya, unfortunate, and upadra, always disturbed. You know, you have to have some peace of mind in order to study the books and everything. But it's, you know, oh my God, how can I pay the rent? I think my neighbor's trying to kill me. Okay, I got to call the cop. In this age, anything can happen. You know, it's just the age of disturbance, the age of anxiety, obviously. So, on the externally, it's not a good age for yoga. It's not a good age for advancement, you know. But there's one very special quality of this age, and there's a verse, 12th chapter, 12th canto. In the 12th canto, there's a whole chapter dedicated to describing the degradation of the Kali Yuga. Mercy will decrease, age will decrease. Cheating will increase, all these different things. Everything you can just, yeah, you got it right, you know. But then there's this verse, very important. What does it say? How does it? Yeah, that's the punchline. But what's the first part of it? This Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, right? Nidhe Rajan is, what, you know? What's the first word of the verse? Okay, so this Kali Yuga is an ocean of Kale Dosha Nidhe. Kale Dosha Nidhe Raj, O king, King Purke. Kale Dosha Nidhe. Nidhe is an ocean, and Dosha is fault. So to sum up what I've just been describing, you know, he's describing whole specifically. Prabhupada always he focuses on this one. Yes, it's confirmed that it says there, Kesha Lavanya Dharanam, that he always says people will think they're very beautiful by having long hairs. Well, women are people. I mean, they've been doing that for, you know, since time immemorial. But no, the men will have long hair, you know. I remember, I never got that far. My hair got back down to here, that was it, you know. But anyway, so Prabhupada said, see, confirmed. This is confirmed. The Bhagavatam is accurate. But the whole verse says, Kale Doshane De Rajan. So in summary, this Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults. Who can deny it, you know? But Asti eko mahadgunat. There is one special, very good quality of this age. Kirtane Kalidoshanene Rajanasya mahadgunat. Kirtane. Anyway, the English translation is, simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. And Krishna came as Lord Caitanya to give us that special process, Sankirtan. Hare Rāma, this one I won't forget. Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, eva kevalam kalo nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gataranyata. Very easy verse to remember. In this age of, if you want to achieve the supreme goal of life, in this age, when dissension and chaos abound, there's no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way that can ever be found but to chant Krishna's name. But to chant Krishna's name. But to chant Krishna's name with a stout-hearted vow. And to pray, "Oh Lord Krishna, O friend of the poor, let my head ever unto your lotus feet bow." That's the Trinadapisuni chain part of it. So that's the great gift in this age. Because without that, we'd have no hope. Ashtanga yoga, even Arjun couldn't practice it. You get into this yoga. I tried this yoga, that yoga, Rama Krishna mission. Somehow or other, I escaped that. They wanted me to come, because they didn't have so many intelligent young men that they were getting. Anyway, I escaped that. I had bought. Those who have read the CC, they know that reading Shankaracharya's commentary to the Vedanta Sutra is fatal for your spiritual life. Lord Caitanya says, Mayavadi Bhashya Shunlai Soy Harvanash, that much I think I got. You read the Bhashya. Bhashya means the commentary, the Mayavadi commentary. The main one is Sankaracharya's Sharirika Bhashya. And Sarvanash, your spiritual life is completely destroyed, he says. I had the book. I bought the book. It was for sale in the Ramakrishna mission in English. I had it, but I never read it. You know what saved me? The TLC, the teaching of Lord Caitanya. I was very philosophically inclined. I had the Krishna book, but I wasn't ready for all the pastimes, Very colorful, very nice. But that teaching of Lord Caitanya just got me, and I started to go to the temple and was saved. I would have been finished. So anyway, so now he's talking about, how one can understand the super soul, right? And dhyan, from meditation, sankhya, and so forth. But really, this is typical of the 12th chapter. You remember the 12th? If you can't do this, do this. If you at least try to be unselfish and give the fruit of your activity away, and then that'll keep your heart open, But here, so he starts with meditation. And then others through Sankhya, and now in the next verse we can read. He goes on. Others who are conversant, and So he's being very liberal. Anye tvevam jananta, shutvanebhya upasate, tepi chatatarancheva, mrityum shutiparayanaha. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about Him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. Purport. This verse is particularly applicable to modern society, because in modern society there is practically no education in spiritual matters. Some of the people may appear to be atheistic or agnostic or philosophical, but actually there's no knowledge of philosophy. As for the common man, if he is a good soul, then there is a chance for advancement by hearing. This hearing process is very important. Lord Caitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress. Especially, according to Lord Caitanya, if he hears the transcendental vibration, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rāma, Hare Rāma, Rāma Rāma, Hare Hare. It is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized souls and gradually become able to understand everything. The worship of the Supreme Lord will then undoubtedly take place. Lord Caitanya has said that in this age, no one needs to change his position, but one should give up the endeavor to understand the absolute truth by speculative reasoning. One should learn to become the servant of those who are in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. If one is fortunate enough to take shelter of a pure devotee, hear from him about self-realization, and follow in his footsteps, one will be gradually elevated to the position of a pure devotee. In this verse particularly, the process of hearing is strongly recommended. And this is very appropriate. Although the common man is often not as capable as so-called philosophers, faithful hearing from an authoritative person will help one transcend this material existence and go back to Godhead, back to home. A friend wrote me recently. It was Krishna Chaitra Swami. You may have heard of him. And he wrote me way back months ago that he's putting a book together. And he wanted me to contribute it. It's reflections on the fourth canto, some inspiration he got from the fourth canto, you know. So that was months and months ago, and he said by December 1st. So I completely forgot about it. So on December 1st, he wrote me, a few days he wrote me, how you doing on the essay? You know, he said, well, we got a reprieve from our publisher. We have an extra week, so he wants me to write something, you know, on the fourth canto. So I happen to be very busy. I don't think I'm going to be able to come up with something. But I had some ideas, and I want to share them with you because it's very appropriate to this purport. And that is what we witness again and again in the Bhagavatam, and here also in the Bhagavad Gita, is the subject, you know, a prominent person undergoing a transformation of their consciousness, right? Arjuna. Of course, he's already a very intimate friend of Krishna's, but he voluntarily, Krishna put him into Maya, as you will, so that he was neglecting to do his duty, which means that he was neglecting to follow Krishna's plan of Paratanaya Sadhunam, protecting the devotees, annihilating the miscreants, and reestablishing Dharma. So, of course, you know, so Arjuna, as you may recall, he has his, you know, arguments based on the Shastra. You know, if I kill all these people and or help kill them, all the men will be killed, the women will be unprotected. We'll have Varna Sankara, means unwanted population like we have out here. And I'll be responsible. I'll go to hell, and I'll help everyone go to hell. So better I just go off to become a beggar, you know. But he's not suited to that. He's constitutionally a Kshatriya, you know. So he knows that. And then finally he surrenders to Krishna in the second chapter. Skarpa nidosho pahata sobhava. My sobhava, my actual nature, has been stolen away by this miserly weakness that I'm feeling. You know, hesitance to fight against my beloved grandfather, Bhishma. You know, he's not a real grandfather. He took a vow not to marry, so he can't be a real grandfather. But he was in the role of a grandfather for the Pandavas, whose father died. Pandava died untimely in the forest, you know. So he was, but you know, so he had a tremendous emotional tie to him, and he happened to be on the other side, along with his teacher, his instructor, Dronacharya, who taught him the art of war. So both of them, he not only didn't want to kill them himself, but he didn't want them to be part of the whole process of them being killed. So this is all, you know, his hesitancy. So he surrenders to Krishna as a shishya, as a disciple, because they were friends. But Prabhupada said, friendly talk can go on forever, but you don't really get anywhere, friend to friend. But a shishya, the little word, the root of the word shishya is the root in Sanskrit shash, which has to do with control. Another word that we have from shash is shastra. You know, shastra is that book that you can trust and agree to change your behavior according to the instructions there. You know, that's the thing. Or shastra. With the long and shorts are very important. Shastra is a weapon, a sword, you know, where you can be controlled or killed, you know, by the shastra. So the shishya is someone who agrees to be controlled by the words of the guru, of the trusted spiritual master. That's what it means to surrender. So Arjuna says, Shishya steham, I am now your shishya. I don't want to be in that role of your friend anymore. Tell him, Shadiman Tampapannam, I surrender unto you, now please instruct me so that I can achieve my real shreyas, my ultimate good. So then after that, Krishna begins speaking the Bhagavad Gita, 2:11, and the first thing he does is he calls Arjuna a fool. He chastises his disciple. Ashochan avashocastram pragyabharam sabhashase gatasun gatasun cha nanusoshanti panditaha. He said, you're lamenting for what is not lamentable. Ashochan anvashocastram, namely the physical body. Because the first lesson is nobody dies. Najayate miyate vakadachan. Okay? So that's he's going to teach him then in a few verses. So it says you're lamenting for what is not worthy of grief. The wise lament neither for the living nor the dead. Because they know the dead simply means the body's died, but the soul is going on. So anyway, he goes on with the Bhagavad Gita here. So back to the fourth canto. So what we find in the fourth canto that I was thinking of doing, there's several really prominent stories there, but one of the most famous is the story of Dhruva. Dhruva was the son of King, I forget. But the scene, open is that his father has two queens, and it happens that Dhruva's mother, Suniti means very virtuous one. She's not the favorite mother and wife anymore. The favorite wife is Suruchi, means hot. And so her son is crawling on on the king's lap, So Dhruva actually wants to get up there, but Suruchi says, no, you can't. You have to take your birth from my womb first, then you can go. In other words, she wants her son, who's not the eldest son, to inherit the kingdom. So there's the conflict right there. So Dhruva means fixed. He's a real Kshatriya, he's determined. So he says, this is not right, So he goes to his mother, and he explains what happened, and she said, what can I do? I'm not the favorite wife anymore. I'm only Suniti. Suruchi is the favorite. But he says, I have heard, the prophet tells the story this way, but I've heard that God will help you. And so where could I find God? I've heard that the sages go into the forest, So the little 5-year-old boy, Dhruva, he's fixed, and he starts for the forest looking for God. And who comes by? Narada Muni. He's always come at the right time. And he understands. He says, look, you're a little too young now. You come back, in some few years, and I'll teach you everything. And he says, oh, great sage, thank you for your advice, but if you can't help me, I'm going anyway, So he's going out. So Narada gives him this instruction. And it's actually a mystic yoga mixed with bhakti, because he has him chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and doing rudimentary deity worship, which is authorized. The rishis and everything, they go out into the forest, but there's always some little lake or a little river, stream. They need some water, to live. So you can build a little murti out of the mud on the riverbank and worship it, and it can get dissolved, and the next day you do the same thing. It's authorized. So he did that, and he was meditating and performing severe austerities. The first month he only ate the leaves, and then he didn't eat the leaves, and then he did some roots, then he's just breathing. So meanwhile, he's entrained the universal breathing, and the demigods say they go to Vishnu. Does it go to Vishnu? Yeah. Finally, after 6 months, he's become very advanced in this, and he's also thinking of the Lord within his heart and chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So what happened is, and this is a constant theme, and we see it in the present Bhagavatam verses with Ajamil. Not Ajamil, King Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. I'm sorry, I'm getting old. Got to stand on my head a little more. And so Ambarish is fixed. He's the king, but he's a totally pure devotee. He's got and anyway, I won't tell the whole story again. But Durvasa, he's kind of he starts out, and he's very envious of the king, because Durvasa is a Brahmin, he's a powerful yogi. And this king is getting all this honor. So he wants to catch him in a real faux pas of etiquette. So he waits till the day after Ekadashi, which was today, right? Yesterday. No, today, to break the fast. Yeah. Yeah, so Ekadashi we celebrated on Sunday. Monday. Yeah, this was the day after Kali. So we had a breakfast time. So we always give the interval. It's not so serious here. But if you think of Ambarish and Devasa, this is a pretty serious thing. It's break time, break fast. So he comes just before the break fast, and he doesn't come with his 60,000 disciples like he did with the Pandavas. But still, he's a very honorable, and so he wants to take breakfast and break the fast with Ambarish. But he purposely waits till, the time is about to expire. We have a certain interval, maybe a half hour, an hour, usually. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Anyway, that's difficult, You can break it after this time, but not after this time. Okay, So what does Ambarish do? He says, he consults his Brahmins. They don't know what to do. So I know what I'll do. I'll just drink a little water, because that's breaking and not breaking the fast, right? If you're fasting, you drink water, you don't feel, I broke the fast. So, but Devasa gets all bent out of shape. He planned it this way. He knows comes out of the water. It's already time passed, and he understands that Ambarish has taken water by his mystic power, which is, this is a tremendous offense. I'm Brahman, and you're a Kshatriya, and you have eaten. You have taken breakfast before your guest. The punishment is death, and so he creates this Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is a fiery demoness. Her body is completely fire, and they always go. You instruct the demons and burn that person. So he goes to Ambarish. He doesn't do anything, just like Prahlad. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And so what happens to the Kṛṣṇa? The Sudarshan chakra, which Krishna had given to Ambarish to protect him, he goes into action and he destroys the Kṛṣṇa, saves Ambarish, and then goes after Devasa. Now Devasa, he's not a great bhakti. He said, the Sudarshan chakra, take me, No, he starts running and going. Shiva, please help me. I can't help you. You got the Sudarshan chakra. Brahma says, I can't help you. He goes all the way up to Vishnu, to Vaikuntha, and Vishnu says, I can't help you. I'm under the control of my devotees. Aham bhakta paradino means I am controlled by the love of my devotees. So there's some other famous verses I won't get into this. If you want to get saved, you've got to go down, go back to Ambarish, and get his forgiveness. So he does that, and Ambarish says, of course, and he just prays to the Sudarshan chakra, let him go, Sudarshan says, fine. So Devasa is, he's very grateful. And he realizes, now I had forgotten this part, that Ambarish has been standing there for a whole year. This whole thing of Devasa took a year for him to complete. He hadn't eaten yet. He hadn't eaten for the whole year. He was a much more powerful yogi than Devasa. He was just chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare, waiting for his guest to come back. So Devasa finally sees the light, and he starts glorifying Ambarish. He says, I appreciate you. So his whole nature has changed. So now back to the fourth canto, and I'll come back to this. So Dhruva, he goes through a transformation also. And when he finally sees, because he's entrained the universal breathing, and all the demigods can't breathe. He's gotten down. He's breathing once a day, once every week, and once every month. And the demigod, Vishnu, can you do something? So he goes down and he appears before. Dhruva is always meditating on Vishnu. He opens his eyes, and there's the object of his meditation. He describes he goes into ecstasy. It's like he's, licking up his body with his tongue, and it's amazing. So, and then he has some prayers. Now, the most famous prayer that he offered is not there in the Bhagavatam, but Prabhupada would always quote it. Yeah. So this is the prayer. This one I got. Sthana bilashi tapasistitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guyam kacham vichinvan abhidivya ratnam swamin kratatos mibadang niyache. Got them right? So, which means that desiring a kingdom greater than Brahma's, I was situated in great austerity, great penance. Sthana abhilashi. Sthana means a position, longing for. Tapasis tito, I'm situated in tapasya. But now I've gotten you. I've gotten your vision. Tvam praptavan. Deva manindra guyam, who are hidden away even from the great devas. They can't get a darshan of Krishna. They're not pure enough, most of them. But they were, so now I understand. Kacham vachindran. I was hoping for and striving for broken glass in the form of the Brahma's kingdom or whatever, But now I've got the divine jewel of your darshan. Abhidivya ratnam. Swamin, oh Lord, Swamin Katartos me badangniyache. I don't want anything else. In other words, he had an evolution of his desire. From material, it was all material. I want his kingdom, But Narada, always, he gave him the method which is infused with bhakti, the mantra and the murti. He could also perform rudimentary deity worship, and so he was actually becoming a bhakta by doing that. So now, here's the punchline. So what does he pray for? Because here he's saying, what I don't want. I've gotten your darshan, but what, what else does he want? So now in the Bhagavatam, there's this prayer which I memorized, and that's the whole point here. He says, Bhakti, this is my prayer, my Lord. Bhakti mahupa bahatam trahime pasango bhuyad ananta mahatam amalashayanam. Yenanja solbanamuru vasanam bababdim neshe babad gunakatam atapanamatta. Very nice. So he says, here's what I want, my Lord. Bhakti, I want bhakti. I want devotion for you. Mohur pavahatam. No, I want the association of those whose bhakti is so strong, it's like flowing in their heart like a big river. Mohur pavahatam trahime prasango. Now this word prasanga is so important. It means association, but not just any old association. It means, and probably he had a word for that word prasanga, means sincere devotion. In other words, meaningful association. Prasanga, sanga is association or attachment. But here it means association, but pra is always an intensifier syllable. So meaningful association. With whom? With the devotees in whose hearts pure bhakti to you is flowing like a powerful river. Bhuyadananta mahatam amalashayanam, whose asha can be in the heart, is amala, pure. What's the advantage? Yena, by which association I will cross over this ocean of blazing fire-like dangers, which is a Prabhupada's words in his translation, of this material world. And it combines the two metaphors that are usually used. The sea of birth and death, the ocean of birth and death. It's very dangerous in the sea, without a boat, without. Or blazing forest fire. Samsara dhava, another leader loka. So I will easily cross the line. Obanamu vyasanam bababdim neshe bavad gunakatamatapanamata, because I am becoming mad to hear of your glories and your pastimes. You see? And that's where I can hear it, in the association of your pure devotees. And so that's the great treasure of Srila Prabhupada's books. We're actually hearing from the pure devotee the glories of the Lord. Of course, from the Lord directly, and then the explanation. So that this is what we should aspire to attain, is this ardent desire to be immersed in Krishna Katha all the time. And if you don't have a hearer, then we can be the hearer and the chanter at the same time. That's why I took the trouble to memorize all these verses. Madhurdesha madhudi magamada vamudadi matalika mugdha mama mananda mohana mudama dayamanaso mahamoho. All words, M. A tour de force of alliteration. Listen, Madhurdesha madhudi madhava manadi matalika mugdha mama mananda mohana mudama dayamanaso mahamoham. I don't think you can do that in English. O Master of Mathura, lovely Lord of Goddess Shri, who plays such maddening melodies upon your Murali. O Cupid's charmer, please redeem a life till now misspent by joyfully destroying my extreme bewilderment. See? What more do you want? So that's what all this is, bringing us to, and becoming this, because we have nirmana moha dita sanga dosha. By bad association, you get the faults that come with such bad association. That's sanga dosha. So in the 15th chapter, after a few verses describing the upside down banyan tree, that whole thing, he's describing how you can cut that tree down with the sword of detachment, but then you have to search out that Lord from which everything has come, and surrender, and then you can get free of all the sangha dosha, the faults that have come from bad association. That's what we're suffering from. So the whole thing is to find the good association. That's why Prabhupada called it society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, giving us a facility like these wonderful temples in order to hear and chant about Krishna and hear from devotees and become purified. So I'm not sure how we got that from these verses here, but I thought I'd share it with you. Because really the whole process is infused with that, is that the evolution of your desires. That's what we're trying to do. Till the point where there's no desire for sense gratification, only the desire to please Krishna's senses and taking great pleasure in doing that. And that's eternal. Where trying to please your own senses is very fragile. Eventually that pleasure all turns to pain, and all you've got is the memories of those sense gratifications that take you back to another birth and death. But if you come to the point of being a real servant and lover of Krishna and taking pleasure in serving him, then that's an eternal engagement, ever increasing. What more do you want? Okay, any discussion? We have a few minutes, or we can have a few more poems. You want to hear that again? Well, okay. Madhudesha. So Madhudesha means the Lord of Mathura. It's Krishna. Madhudesha. Madhuri Maya, who are made of, filled with sweetness. Everything you do is sweet and attractive. Madhudesha Madhuri Maya Madhava, husband of Goddess of Fortune. Madhudesha Madhuri Maya Madhava, Murali Matlalika Mugdha, who plays such maddening and attractive melodies on your Murali, the flute. Murali Madhava. Mama, my, Mother Namohana, O Mother Namohana, O destroyer or enchanter of Cupid. In other words, you can transcend help us transcend purify the sex desire. Mother Namohana Muda, O Mother Namohan, with great joy, Mama Mother Namohana Muda, Mardaya, please destroy. Mardaya. Mama Mother Namohana Madamani, Manasam Maho Maho Moham. I'm sorry, I tried to take it apart. I added an extra syllable there. I used to have it. Maha Maha Moham. Why just Maha Moham? But Maha Maha Moham, But I stopped doing it. I didn't try to do that thing in Rupa Goswami's verse. But that's the verse, I'm completely bewildered. I've been for that many, many lives. So please, with great relish and joy, destroy my illusion, oh enchanter and charmer, like that. And there's another one that's all K's, but I won't give you that one right now because I'm sure it doesn't. But it's so that's what we have. We have this great wealth of knowledge and association and beautiful expressions of prayers for Krishna and glorification. So take advantage of it, develop a taste for it, and hopefully when we leave this body, that's all we want to do. Hear and chant, please. Just like, Ambarish, he was ready to go. He didn't care. He's just standing there for a whole year, not taking any chapatis or anything, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. We have these great souls. When we meet them in the Bhagavatam, we're actually getting to meet these great souls and have the association. We should take advantage of it. Okay, but it's too early. I got to give you at least one other one. Okay.
Krishna.
Vanessa, you have a question or a suggestion?
I do. I figured I could ask.
Please.
You're saying how the cure to Sangha Doshan is just better association. Is there any other suggestions to overcoming, association of the faithless?
We can refer to the verse. It's in the beginning of the, it's 15:5, and it goes like this. Nirmana moha dita sangha dosha adyatma nitya binabhitta kama. Actually, it's the best antidote is there in the Sadhu Sangashtaka. We won't be able to go through the whole thing, but the reference is 3rd canto, 25th chapter, text 20 through 27. That's 8 verses actually. And it's Kapila teaching his mother about the importance of associating with sadhus. And then, of course, well, who's a sadhu? Titikshava Karunika Suri, this famous verse. The sadhus, these are the ornaments of the sadhu, very tolerant, very merciful, the friend of every living being. Ajata Shatrava, without any enmity toward anyone. And such is the sadhu. What happened? How did he get that way? And that's the next verse. By pure devotion to me. Kapila is speaking in the role of the incarnation. So he said, he basically teaches his mother. The first verse says, "Prasanga majaram pachamapmanakvayovidu," that this powerful desire, affection or attachment we have for the things of this world and the people and the materialists of this world, we have to transfer to the sadhus, and that will open up the door to liberation. Mundane affection keeps us tied to birth and death infernal, but love for sadhus opens wide the doors to life eternal. I put it into a little poem. So the culmination, the crown jewel of these 8 verses is, I think, 25, is 3:25:25. Satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkana rasayana katha tajoshanat ashu abavarga vartmani shraddha rati bhakti anukramishiti. So if we can find that association, good association, take advantage of satam prasangan. Prasangan means meaningful, intense, deep association, not just superficial. Prasangan. So it could be that Mama Virya Samvido, one will hear talks of my glories and my pastimes. He's speaking in the role of Krishna. And these talks are Bhavanti Ritkana Rasayana. They are a life-giving elixir for the ear and the heart. This glorification. And then what's the result? Bhavanti Ritkana Rasayana Tajoshanad, following this process, Ashu, quickly, Apavarga Vartmani, the path of liberation, one develops Shraddha, Rati, and Bhakti Anukramishati. Faith, attraction, and Bhakti, or love for Krishna, step by step. So that's the essence of the whole thing. And the most intense and most pure form of prasanga is Sankirtan. I chant, you hear, you chant, I hear, and we both dance and chant and go back to Godhead. And so that's the idea. And then all of the sangha dosha, the faults that we have through lifetimes of bad association will be cleansed away. Cheto darpana marjanam. That's Lord Caitanya's teaching, his first teaching. It's all a purification. It's very important to realize we already have the treasure in our heart, the pure love for Krishna. It's just a question of uncovering it and realizing it. And so that's how we get free from the faults of bad association. And for that, we better adjourn. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Hare Bol. Thank you for your attention.